What's up, Reactorites? John here, and it's time for a spoilerific discussion of Joker. The movie just came out today, and depending on where you're at, they've already been showing the movie in New York or East Coast time, and also here in California, the screenings are showing, and then I think some are already ending. And so let's start it off. Joker. If you haven't seen my review yet, I love the movie. I thought the movie was a game changer, and I love Joaquin Phoenix's performance. Todd Phillips, I think he did a really great job with just capturing Joker, just showing how Joker can become crazy, a villain from a background of just a pretty crappy background, and slowly it's a very slow burn, and he finally gets to the point of just going crazy, and Joker becomes kind of like a messiah of some sorts for the people. And so my favorite part about this movie is just seeing the little things that Joaquin Phoenix is able to do, where he has they're trying to make it realistic as possible, especially with the help from Todd Phillips directing. And Joker, he has this condition where he has uncontrollable laughter, and so it doesn't matter if he's happy or sad. There will be moments where if there's tension, nervousness, he's just gonna just start laughing, and every time he does that, a part of me, I feel like, oh no, this is something bad is gonna happen. And with that, like Todd Phillips, I love the way he tried to make everything grounded. So like, if we really had a Joker in our world, this is probably what the Joker would be like. And Joaquin, he went all out, especially with his diet. So he was skinny, so he's got that Joker physique, and he also has just the look, and he also acts in a way where he's pretty much a loner and living a crappy life, and somehow, some way, it's there's a like a light switch and it flips. So it all starts with the subway scene with these three rich kids, and they're picking on him, and he had the last straw. He can't handle it enough, and he's tired of it. And he has the gun that was gifted from one of his colleagues. So to retaliate from the guys kicking his ass, he shoots them all, and that's the journey of Joaquin Phoenix becoming the Joker. And yeah, Justin Demazine, what's up? So with this rendition of Joker, you still have a mystery behind his origin, and you still have the what was it? The mystery, and also you get to see how he starts to become the Joker. So it's kind of a mix between those two things together. And I know that there are some fans that are like, oh, I don't want Joker to have like an origin story. There should be kind of like different options, like option A or option B. And so here we kind of have that different options where the Joker is kind of an unreliable narrator, and so you're really not sure what's happening. And we have 12 Chapin says, "Is he the son of question mark?" There is that photo his mom has, and so yeah, let's talk about that discussion right there with that spoiler. So it all starts off with this whole letter where his mom is talking about how Joaquin Phoenix is really the son of Thomas Wayne, and it's at that point when you watch the movie, you're like, oh no, oh no, does that mean that he's the older brother of Bruce Wayne? And for a second there, when I watched the movie, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so cool, even though it's like a different take for the movie. But just for that version in that universe, I'm like, I'm ready for it. I'm excited to see what kind of story we're gonna have with the Joker and Batman becoming brothers. But then later on, it's revealed that what is it? Tom was it the father, Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas Wayne, was like, "No, your mom's crazy. You're not my son." And then Joaquin Phoenix, he goes into the hospital where his mother was admitted, and one of the guys, the workers, has the notes and all that, the files, and he was like reading it. And he's like, "Oh crap! I shouldn't give this to the Joker, to Arthur Fleck." But then Arthur Fleck was like, "Oh, give me that thing." And so when he reads it, it was a revelation. It's like, "Oh my God, my mom has been lying to me this whole time. I was adopted," and so that's like another revelation. Find out he was adopted, and then finding out that the mom's boyfriend at the time was very abusive, and she allowed the boyfriend to beat up Arthur Fleck. So she was a very negligent mother, and so that was in turn, it caused Joaquin Phoenix's character Arthur Fleck to go crazy. Like, you know what, mom, you have been a crappy mother since I was a kid, so I'm gonna end your life in the hospital. And so what's up, MM? So MM asks, can I ask you please? Does he get killed in the end, or it ends up in Arkham? And so with that, you really don't know what happens at the ending because he's running around. He uh, he leaves the room. There's a blood trail, so that implies that he most likely killed the psychologist or the person that's talking to him. And you got the orderly people just running around. Oh, I think it's one guy, yeah, chasing after him, and it's like a comedy where it's like going back and forth, and it ends. And so it's up to you to decide what happens, because it could be he finds a way to escape, they capture him, but I don't think that he got killed in the end. And I believe, he's got the goons now at the very end of the movie, and so he's able to have these huge following help him out, and that's what I believe, that they'll be able to help him out somehow, and he'll be outside Gotham. Batman's gonna have to figure out something, whatever Bruce Wayne is doing. So let's see. We have 12 Chapman says, "Do you think Thomas could be lying? He has the money and connections to cover it up, and this is its own universe apparently." For me, I think he's speaking the truth, just because I'm trying to make it, or I want it to be more like the canon that we know of, where Thomas is still good, and um, the mother, like let's say if he's lying, and the mother is like speaking the truth, like, "Oh yeah, he's lying because, we're, it would be a bad thing to know that Arthur Fleck is like the other son of Thomas Wayne, and it would be like a bad look for Thomas Wayne if he had someone else that's uh, kind of crazy, and she's gonna be in the limelight, and especially when he's trying to run for mayor, you want to try to have all these secrets, to stay a secret. But I think with the files that Arthur Fleck got from the hospital, revealing stuff about the mother, and Arthur Fleck actually being mad about the mother, and he has signs of being crazy. Uh, I think that Thomas was actually speaking the truth, but the movie is open up to your interpretation, and there is no clear cut answer, and so I think that there are ways to. Like it could be, let's say Thomas Wayne could be fibbing the documents, the files, to make it look like the mother's crazy, and then somehow, but then that makes Arthur Fleck kind of just clueless, because he's clueless the whole time. He just figured out he's the son of Thomas Wayne, and then he finds out, oh, his mom was lying. So I don't like the idea of Arthur Fleck being duped twice. So I think, for me, I just want to believe that this Arthur Fleck, he figured it out, because I want Arthur Fleck as the Joker to become really smart. And so Celestial Dreams asks, I want to see this world's version of Batman. the Batman would be as mentally ill, if not worse, than Joker, a pathological, obsessive control freak who's essentially a villain. It's like a perverted version of Bill Gates. Oh, that yeah, that would definitely be interesting. A very interesting take on this world of Joker and Batman. Because let's face it, Batman, he had a traumatic childhood, and he's dressed as a bat. So he's fighting crime, and in real life we don't have people like that. We do have people that help out, but a guy dressed like a bat. So you're gonna think this guy is he's got some mental illnesses and all that. So that would be a very cool thing if we actually do get a sequel to this. So let's hope that once the movie comes out this weekend, it makes a lot of money and all that. And we got Tom saying, "John, what's up? What's up, Tom? How's it going?" And so let's see. We have another question. Did Arthur kill that girl we were led to believe he was dating? You see, that is a very tricky question because when I watched the advanced screening of Joker, there was a Q&A with Todd Phillips at the end, along with Joaquin Phoenix, and Todd Phillips, he mentioned how it's open up to your interpretation, but then he also mentioned how the Joker only kills, there's a reason for him to kill, and I feel like the reason for him to kill certain people, like they were jerks to him and all that. And I don't think Zazie Beetz did anything wrong. So I think he walked away and just, allowed her and her child to live. Like he didn't do anything. But then it kind of feels like you can take it the other way too, because when he goes into the other room, you hear an ambulance and you hear knocking. So you're like, what's up with that? Are the officers, did they find like a dead body? Or it just could be the roommates are being noisy. Yeah. So comments are like, AC smiley face says, "Bro, I love this movie," and Dreadlock says, "Yes, please, did he kill her?" So, and that's what I love about this Joker movie. You can kind of think about what's happening because Joker is an unreliable narrator. And so you're not sure what really happened because, the whole time you're thinking the Joker and Zazie Beetz, they were dating, but it turns out they weren't really dating. And, he shows up in her room and she's like, aren't you my roommate or my neighbor? What are you doing here? I got my child and I'm kind of scared. So, it's crazy. And like my mind, I can either think of it as he did kill her or he didn't. And we can talk about this, on and on because it's always an interesting way to figure out whether he did kill Zazie Beetz or not. Because Zazie, she's she was there. She's helping. Like you already saw signs like, oh, this might be him dreaming because she's very supportive of him all of a sudden, and he goes in the room, he kisses her. So that's like, huh? I guess she's like that. She really wants that Arthur Fleck magic, that mojo. So, then we have another question where I think the only time they met was in the elevator. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you on that one with the elevator. The only time they met because in the elevator they did the whole imaginary gun sign thing, and then when he does it in the hallway, she was looking at him like, you're crazy. And so I think that part where she's looking at him, that was actually her reacting to that. But then somehow they go in, Joker goes in the door, makes out with her, and then magic. Everything was just, going with the flow and wonderful. And so we have another question where they're like, did anyone spot the super rat? I didn't spot any super rats. But that'd be crazy to see the super rats. Oh, you're talking about for the TV thing. Yeah. But I didn't see any actual super rats, but it's just the reports that were shown on the TV, and all the ending stuff. It's this movie. It's crazy. Like I was able to watch this 2 times. The second time watching Joker, it felt even more intense than the first time, because the first time when I was watching it, I was enthralled by it. I was like, oh, what's gonna happen next? With this, the second time, I was like, I already know what's happening, and then so now I feel I'm trying to feed off from the energy from the crowd, and I'm like, this feels kind of like I feel nervous right now, and it's a crazy time that we live in where with the Joker coming out, you have uh, people are attacking the movie for just trying to be just because of the subject matter is too much now in this day and age. And I already talked about how I felt about how movies should be like, because this is a work of fiction, and it's it's like art, and you can't really try to ban art just because of the violent stuff. So it's like trying to ban Goodfellas, and they're not trying to ban it, but I've talked to some people where they're like, this movie should not exist. I'm like, why? Just because it's a movie about a villain, and sometimes why can't we have movies about villains or someone that's just evil? Because we've had plenty of movies like that. Goodfellas, and these people are murderers, but it's based on reality. But either way, it's you're still following these people. You're learning who they are, and even you have other movies, for example, Avengers, Infinity War, where you're kind of sympathizing with Thanos. He wants to kill half the universe, and then you kind of understand where he's coming from, but apparently no one had any big issues. There are a few people that had issues with Thanos, but this one, Joker, just because it's a little too down to earth, too gritty, and all that. So it's crazy. So we have this film makes the audience pay attention and think deeply. I love that most movies you just watch them and enjoy them and then forget about them. So that's a comment by MM. And so 12 Japan says, when Arthur was talking on the phone about getting fired because of the gun, that fell from his pocket. You can see a big rat running on the street. Oh, wow. So I didn't notice anything about that on the street. So I'll have to watch it again to see that. But that'd be cool. Super rats. The super rats are here. And so, yeah, that scene, there's like a lot of scenes in Joker that made me feel uneasy. And that's what I love about this movie is that it's very tense. It's not supposed to make you feel, all happy and giddy, because this is the Joker we're talking about. One scene was like the weapon falling in the hospital. I'm like, ooh, oh, that's bad. And there are plenty of other scenes too. Just with the talk show with Murray and what happens to him, and then Joker was just feeling so upset about how he was treated by Murray, how he's treated by the system, and then now you have chaos, and that's the way the movie leads up to that chaotic moment in the third act. I'm like, this is great. This is all the people that's following Joker, and they're rising up. They're terrorizing Gotham, and because they believe that they've been treated like crap, and then they bring Joker out because Joker was being taken away by cops, and so his followers crash into the car, brings him out, and carries him out. He's a messiah. He stands up, and you have all these rioters. They're like cheering, and he has got the blood, and he puts the smile on his face, and so that's like, yes, Joker. He's gonna be the top villain in Gotham, and he has a whole lot of goons. Because usually with the Joker, like with the comics or cartoons, whatever, he's got the goons. They work for him. That's it. But here, like the people that's following him, you really get why they want to follow him, and so they're very passionate about following this figure. And this is like a strong passion. This is like people would do anything to help him out, to follow him and lead to help him lead a new a new world for Gotham. And so just imagine living that world. That's a scary thought. And so we have 12 Travis says, here's a crazy idea. Let's have Joker appear in the next Avengers movie, multiverse crossover. Yeah. Uh, and then let's see. Read somewhere about time in the movie with 1111 appears more than once. Did you notice that? With that, I didn't notice that, and I don't know what the reference for 1111 is. 1111. But if you guys know, you let me know because I'm kind of curious now. And I think after the watching it twice, I think the thing that I really appreciate about the movie is just the way it's a slow burn and it just takes its time, and you really get to see this Arthur Fleck just go from kind of crazy to completely crazy, and you start noticing things about how people react to him and how his colleagues are, and that scene where he kills one of his colleagues, that's like so brutal. It's probably the most intense scene in the movie for me, because it's just, you knew it was going to happen because he had the scissor. He picked up the scissor. I was like, he's gonna use that. And then his other friend, the small guy, he was like, oh no, what have you done? And I was like, oh no, is he gonna let him go, or is he gonna do something? But he lets him go because Joker, Arthur Fleck wouldn't be the type in this movie to kill someone unless they deserve it. And that one guy, he set him up with a weapon. So yeah, that's a bad call, dude. And pretty much I believe that every single person that the Joker eliminated he has a reason for taking them out. So one was the setup of the weapon. The other was just at the end, pretty much he's being held captive, and others, Murray made fun of him. Made fun of how he's a terrible comedian. And we got Nerd Report. He's popping in. What up? What up, Nerd Report? And so I'm glad that you guys are enjoying this. So Dark OPZ says it's beyond a masterpiece. And MM says, are you going to watch it again? I already watched it twice. So I'm going to I feel like taking a break. But maybe like later on I'll watch it for a third time. And yeah. So Dark OPC says, I already watched it in Venice. It's a masterpiece. Oh, man. So now I want to ask you, did you watch it at the Venice Film Festival? Were you with the crowd? Did you clap? Did you have, was it like a really long standing ovation? Because the first time I watched it, it was a very intimate theater. So I was there with Nerd Report. Lewis from Nerd Report, he was there. And it was like a group of just 30 people. It's a very intimate screening. And I didn't know how to react once the end credits started. I was like, oh my God, I experienced something different. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna clap. And then everyone on my row was clapping, and we just did this. We clapped, and we were like, this movie's great. This is beautiful. It's a game changer. And then the second time I watched it was at the premiere in Los Angeles, and so of course the crowd's bigger, and that's probably another reason why I felt a little bit more nervous because of the scenes. I'm like, oh man, how are they gonna take it? Are they gonna freak out? Are they gonna feel like movie is too much for them? And at the end, everyone clapped, so I'm like, oh man, okay, yeah. So like the crowd is enjoying this, and I felt like I was on cloud nine, like, yeah, and it's so let's see. Hey John, time to go to sleep. Great review. See you guys later. Let's hope Warner Brothers can get inspired and may I'm saying make better movies in the future. Yeah, this is definitely a game changer, and I hope that over the weekend it's going to make a lot of money. Because Deadpool was rated R. That made a lot of money. This is rated R, but it's one of those movies where I'm like, I'm not sure if you guys should be watching this, like the kids. But then, if I was a kid and it's a Joker movie, I'm gonna find any way to watch this movie in theaters. And yeah, it's like when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was watching like the other stuff, Goodfellas and all that. So I've been watching dark films and horror films too. So I think I turned out all right. Because there was like this whole thing where oh no, she's like don't watch it. You'll be scarred for life. So I okay. There are things like when you're a kid, you will be scarred for life. For example, uh, I know that a lot of people I talk to when they watch or when they read the book about scary stories to tell in the dark, they've been scarred with especially with the illustration. And so I never read that, but I have seen the illustrations. But I was like, man, that thing is creepy, and that's probably one of the reasons why I decided not to read that because I don't want to be scared because books are really scary. And so we got Nerd Report saying the TCL Chinese Theater was packed tonight in Hollywood. So I want to ask you, like, you're watching it. How was that? Did you see? Was there a standing ovation at the end? Was it mostly the public? Because most of the time when I was watching it, it was with other colleagues, other uh, bloggers, critics, and all that. And so, of course, it's like a different type of crowd compared to the general public. So I do want to watch. Yeah, so maybe I will watch it the third time just to see how the general public thinks of it, because it would be interesting. I want to see how that is. And so so Dark OPZ says it's effing amazing. If they won't give the Oscar to Phoenix, maybe clowns would be mad AF. And so we need a part two with Harley Quinn. Yes we do. And if they don't make a part two, maybe I'm afraid this is the last DC movie I will ever watch. Uh, so yeah, it's I don't think I'll go that far for me if they don't make another one of this, because I'm gonna watch it anyway. Like whatever movie that's coming out from DC or Marvel, I'm gonna be there because I enjoy these comic book movies, and we're this is like we're in a golden age right now where these companies are just pumping them out. Before it used to be where you only get certain releases like, oh, let's do Batman. All right, people like Batman. Let's do Batman Returns, and that's it. Let's just focus on Batman. We don't care about any other characters like Wonder Woman or Green Lantern or anything else. So they just strictly focus on Batman because they know that's the moneymaker. And they here and there they did some Superman films, but now their Warner Brothers is feeling very adventurous, and Marvel Studios. I believe that they set the precedence of just doing these obscure characters and people will still love them. For example, Guardians of the Galaxy, and because of that, like a lot of movie studios, and even TV studios, streaming services, they're just going out there trying to make all these comic adaptations, especially with Amazon with The Boys, which I think is very great. It's probably like my favorite show of the year, and with Netflix, you have the Umbrella Academy, and then also going back to Amazon, they had the Tick, but that got canceled for the second season, so I was sad about that. I actually enjoyed the Tick on Amazon because it was like a satire about just superheroes and just them doing the mundane, it's like the slice of life stuff. Like I really appreciated that. Uh, so. So people applauded after the film big time. So that's what Nerd Report says after the tonight screening at the TCL theater. So this that screening was actually for everyone, the public. So that's cool. I'm happy to hear that. And so we got Thanos Boomba says, I really was shaken at the end when he stood on the car. It felt like Hitler was in Gotham. I was terrified. This movie peaks Gotham's violent. Oh yeah, Gotham. Before this movie, the previous DC property that was very violent was Gotham on Fox, And this TV show on Fox was way more violent than like a big, Warner Brothers PG-13 movie, especially with one with Christopher Nolan's version where it's very grounded, very gritty, and it feels very realistic. But with Gotham's violence, it's very violent, but it was very a little bit of cartoon violence, like compared this cartoon. It's like Gotham feels like a cartoon, like a violent cartoon compared to Joker, and Joker, like the violence in that one, it's intense. It's like edge of your seat. You're like, I can't believe this, because it feels like you're watching something out of a Martin Scorsese film, just because of how realistic it feels. Because you're experiencing this and you're seeing this, and you're like, what the hell? So I have to give props to Todd Phillips for capturing Joaquin Phoenix and Joker, making it realistic as possible, and it really it just makes you feel kind of disturbed inside. And so, Dark OPZ says, if they won't make a part two, sorry, new Batman movie, I won't watch it. And yeah, so let's see. I love the parallel between Arthur and Bruce. He thinks that he had been legitimized as son of Thomas Wayne in his life. His life would be better. But even Bruce, as a kid, was depressed and alone as a kid. It was sad. That's from Celestial Dreams. And then Thanos says, when he was running through Arkham, I was laughing though. It was just like a cartoon show. Yes. Yeah, I did feel like a cartoon show where it's just running back and forth. And especially with the blood footprints. Hold on. Oh. Come here. All right. Yeah. So, oh yeah. So Bruce Wayne, like that was my one of my favorite moments in the movie, where the first time we get to see him, he's playing around in the playground, and I'm like, because I saw this before before I got to see really what Bruce Wayne looked like, so I wasn't sure if he was going to be in the movie or not, and I saw the turtleneck. I was like, holy crap, that's got to be Bruce Wayne. That's got to be the Wayne Manor. And he did the little slide, and I was like, that's a great little nod to Batman doing the slide in the Batcave. And so Nerd Report says the Gotham TV show never felt like a real place. Joker seems like real life. Well, yeah, that's true, because the Gotham show is all about being very fantastical, and you have characters like Mr. Freeze. You have Hugo Strange, who's able to revive characters over and over again, and then you also have Ra's al Ghul and the Lazarus, the pit. So the Lazarus pit, he's able to just live a long, long life, and yeah, so it's definitely different in terms of the violence, and then how they just made things feel like it could happen. So Nerd Report says, I love it when Joker said, I don't stand for anything. Yeah, that's great, because all the people, his goons, his followers, they were standing for something. But then the Joker was like, you know what? These guys just pissed me off, and I just fought back, and I eliminated those guys. And so everything that he's done, he's just on that point of madness. And so the Dark OPZ says, now with that age gap between Arthur and Bruce, it's perfect for Joaquin and Robert. Oh yeah. I think I talked to Nerd Report about that, with the age gap, on how Joker is still in the movie considered, he could be considered young. Like, he could be in his 30s or whatnot. And so let's say in this new movie with Robert Pattinson, it would be interesting to see like an older Joker, because the Joker always kind of looks older in the either the comics or the cartoon, and Batman's a bit younger, so I wouldn't feel like it would be out of place for that to happen. And so Thanos, boom, says, I feel the beginning did an amazing job establishing the character, yet it still did feel boring. And it says the worst part of having a mental illness is people expect you to behave as if you don't. Arthur Fleck. And yeah, it's this movie. I think is going to create a lot of discussion about mental illness and how people are affected by it, because it's either you can be like, this is a very tricky subject matter just because of the times we're living in now, and I feel like uh, it's anything can happen, but then you got to be able to. It's kind of hard because there's so many terrible things happening. So how do you try to help everyone out there? And sometimes people are scared. People sometimes don't want to trust in stranger or not because of all the history of everything that we've seen or experienced. Like, remember there was a time when people would unlock their doors, but ever since, like, let's say serial killers came out, and then people started being afraid, so they're walking in pairs now, and so yeah, things will never be the same again. Um, yeah. So, best DC movie in existence. Fight me in real life if you think otherwise. That's Batman GFYS. Yes, I definitely really enjoyed this. Definitely is one of my favorite DC films. And I still love the Christopher Nolan films. Those will always be up there too. So they're like the top tier. Joker, the Dark Knight trilogy, and I still have a soft spot for Tim Burton's Batman films. Michael Keaton. Yeah, just just that line. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. And it's Batman has a lot of very good material. So I'm excited for the new Batman film coming out, and I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. And so Dark OPZ says, I'm going to wait for a falling star to wish it to happen. A Joaquin Robert Batman movie. Yeah. So this, with Joker coming out, and then you still have the DC Extended Universe movies, and also the Batman stuff, I feel like this is three different universes that's going to happen. Like, as much as I would like to have Joker be part of that universe, I don't think that's going to happen. And so I wonder if people's going to be confused about like the different stuff, like, oh, which universe is this in, and which universe is that in, and so because Warner Brothers just releasing the movies, they're still going to have Birds of Prey coming up. And that's part of the DC Extended Universe, since you got Margot Robbie returning as Harley Quinn, and I'm still kind of looking forward to that movie just because it's going to be rated R. And the trailer I thought was okay. Like, it didn't really sell me enough for me to be excited about it, especially with like the outfits and all of that, and the just the characters. But we'll see. We'll see once it comes out. And so you got the Warner Brothers. They're on a different path now. So let's see how well they can do this, and I like it. We need different types of movies, and I think the comic book movies are at a position now where they can really do something different, change the genre, uh, and we're gonna have a good time with it, especially with Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios. They're gonna have different styles for different movies. For example, the next Doctor Strange movie, that's going to be more of a horror movie, especially with the director behind it who has done horror films. And so I think this is great stuff. And so yeah, I think I'm going to be at the end of the video. I'm going to end it soon, but the last thing I want to say is that yeah, Joker, great movie. Definitely a game changer, and it's intense. This movie is intense. It made me feel nervous just being in the crowd. And before I sign off, there's another question from Nerd Report. How is WB going to be going to back to using another Joker if Phoenix wins an Oscar? Um, yeah, that's gonna be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see if Joaquin Phoenix gets nominated for an Oscar. Like, I would like to see that happen. Uh, but the Joker is a type of movie I feel like the people at the Oscars might be afraid of because of the subject matter. And we'll see. We'll see once that time hits next year. And if it does, I'll be like, "Wow, Oscars! Bravo, bravo for doing that." So yeah. Well, with that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the movie, and let me know in the comments below once this video is up regularly. And thanks for watching. With that said, I'm John, and I'll see you guys next time.